Yo, DG here. I decided for the holidays I'm going to do, my next review I'm going to try to do of the Santa Claus. Starring Tim Allen, Randy D. Krishna, Judge Reinhold, Eric Lloyd, one moment. David Krumholtz. Oh, it's using the major here. There's Larry Brandenburg and Peter Boyle. So one way the plot of the film is this kid. This dude guy and his son accidentally literally kill Santa, which is kind of lampshaded. Where they kill Santa. Yes, I said that right. And now they're forced to. Now the guy's forced to take his place, and wacky ensues when his turn to Santa kind of screws him over at home. So here's the rest of this. So yes, yeah, I think the first time I watched the movie was at my Aunt Kathy's house, like a long time ago. I was like a little kid. I mean, this is just me estimating how long it had been. And I believe it was pretty good. It's alright nowadays, but this could have been better. So, and I think that pretty well. I mean, he had 2 sequels. Let me check. And the movie made about 189.8 million at the box office on budget of 22 mil. Entered by Joan Pasquin, who I think did Home Improvement, which also had Tim Allen in it. Let me check to make sure. 1990. Yeah, he did work on Home Improvement. So, I'll get to the plot now. So, and Tim Allen is a decent actor. My mom's a big fan of him. So, here we go to the first. So the beginning of the movie. He shows, I guess, was Tim Allen. They're showing him at I guess a party for his co-workers. It's honestly kind of greasy and do much. And also one of his, his boss played by Peter Boyle from who's Young Frankenstein and Everybody Loves Raymond. Although he only gets 2 scenes in this movie, this scene and a later scene. Which is kind of shame, considering I like Peter Boyle as an actor. I liked him in Everybody Loves Raymond. He was hilarious in that show. You gotta watch it. If any of you haven't watched Everybody Loves Raymond, I recommend you watch it. You'll crack up upon watching that show. Oh, I did the show. It's not on streaming service currently, but it is on TV. But it runs on TV Land and sometimes on IFC. I don't know whether it reruns on. But I don't know if it reruns on TBS anymore. Maybe it does. I mean, I know that. I know that Seinfeld and Friends, but that's the point. Anyway, so he goes home with his rendition of what is that song? That quite like song from Home Alone. Let me look up on the Home Alone soundtrack. Where'd it go? Was it Jingle the Bells or something? Heck. It was Carol of the Bells. You know the way it goes da 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 da. That one. So, sorry about that. For some reason my camera quit for a second. I don't know why. Why? Ace claims that, oh, Santa. And apparently it's because some brat at school said that to him. And apparently Reno says about it that it sounds more of a state of mind or some crap. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. Stay of mind. Just saying that so they get to an argument about exist or not. This guy tries to encourage us it doesn't exist. Samantha does. Even though he really didn't believe Santa exists. Okay, sorry for the light in here. Here, one moment. There we go. Claims that so I think during the argument, his wife, he says, it's true, I'm evil. My sister with her son, he says, well, yeah, you're not him. Like, you're divorced. You're not. It was like, you're divorced. How can one be around when you're divorced? So, what is that supposed to mean? Divorced means you can't be around all the time. You need freaking divorced. Anyway. So he tries to make it some. Before I say this, there's also this one bit here in the movie where he's looking at I don't know, phone contact book. He says something about 1-800 spank me and all this number. Apparently, some kid in the 90s actually tried calling that number, and lo and behold, it led to a sex hotline. I guess to report that Joey didn't check to see if it was real. So in any future changes, they changed to 1-800-pound me. So in case kids ever try to call the number again. Have I called it? No, because I don't know how to type letters into a phone. And then the next bit, we get this bit where a guy tried to trick us into thinking that Al made a good dinner, but it's actually just the camera seems actually just the TV, and it showed that he burned the Christmas dinner, and had to put out the fire extinguisher. So the concept that he decided to take his son out to freaking get Denny's for the night, and is driving him. He keeps about how he's always saying with Judge Reynolds. This is really smart and listens to him. And like, yeah, and he's also bashing your father, which I'm pretty sure no one would tolerate. So then they go to Denny's, and it's kind of Sam boring though there, because actually it's kind of not that funny. The only gift I see is that there's a waitress named Judy, which has a kind of a cheap punchline later. So they just get milk and something, and I don't know, it's kind of a pathetic Christmas for that kid, I will say. Like, but it gets better. Like, so then when they get home, he reads them the night before Christmas, and like, get asked him about the rose such a clatter bit, because he thinks it means something, it means ladder or something. Yes, it does have a punchline. So, punchline. And by the way, Alan claims he believes in Santa, but then he actually does, apparently. I'm like, liar? Are you gonna lie? And the reason why I brought you so much is because the other night they sleep, guess what? The actual big man comes to the roof, and when his son tries to wake him up, he's actually not even pretending that that's Santa on the roof. He's actually acting like he didn't pretend at all that he believed in Santa. Is like, not now. And you call everyone like, your kid thinks that's Santa on the roof, and you're telling him to call the police on Santa? Really? Yes, Lee, like, I understand. realize your country shows a go outside and yells, "Hey, you're Santa!" And then he slips and falls off the roof and lands, and apparently he's supposed to die, even though I'm pretty sure there's enough snow to cushion him. And I didn't even bother to try and pretend that that's Santa, or really try to keep his son's faith in him up. He's like, nah. He says he's not Santa. So yeah, they kill Santa. And so he looks in his pocket, finds this little card saying that to put the suit and hat on, and the reindeer would know what to do. So then Alan steps back and sees all the reindeer on the roof, and I just like his reaction. He goes like this, huh? Or something like that. I don't know, his reactions kind of cracked me up. Yeah, and he's still trying to figure out what to do about this when a ladder magically appears out of the blue and bonks into it, and it says, "Rose, such a gladder." Gladder. And I'm like, wow. Nice punchline. And the kid wants to go up there. Okay, by the way, the Santa disappears. He's forced to take the suit. Like, did he, like, disappear like Obi-Wan Yoda did in the first and third Star Wars movies when they died? Or did he just slip out of the costume and decide that he's done for the rest of his life or something? I don't know. Don't really explain. So they get up the roof and someone wants him to drive the sleigh, but he doesn't want to. And gets on a with the reindeer. I'm like, really? You're gonna with freaking animals? And so let's go, and the reindeer think that he was talking to them, so they take him to the next house. You know, and his son wants him to go down and be present. Like, you want him to be the Santa now, kid? Like, you do realize that this kind of awkward situation for him, and he kind of guilts him into it by accusing him of saying everything he wants to do is stupid, forcing him to, kind of like, really, you're that pitiful, you're actually gonna guilt trip? Like, I get the kid's cute, but really? So he puts on a suit. He's upset that his aim says what he like is a tailor. Like, yeah, I know you're in Home Improvement. You don't need to make that kind of joke. We know you're in Home Improvement. Man, so he gets left in the air by this bag of presents, and okay, here is one of the biggest complaints with this movie. If Santa's actually really doing the presents, why is he not believe him? Like, when they see the presents that no one bought, they're not surprised or wondering how they got there. They just accept it and believe that it's part of life. What? Like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. They don't believe, yeah, he's real. And I'm like, the parents don't, even though they didn't put the, it really actually punishes you for thinking here. So, he goes down, he gets chased by a dog and sets off a burglar alarm. I do admit it's whenever he gets lifted back out and he says that it felt like America's Most Wanted down there. Get to the next house, which doesn't even have a freaking chip. I mean, more like a scrawny chip like we had in my old house. And his son wants him to go down with the presents, even though the bag's empty. And they get grabbed on the reindeer from I'm like, oh, shut up, Rudolph. I know it's not Rudolph, but still. Like, dude, the bag's empty. But out of the blue, the bag suddenly refills itself out of the blue and sucks him right into that chimney, don't ask how. And then it turns, like, the furnace area into, like, a little fireplace? I'm like, the hell's this crap? And gets, like, 20 questions with this girl sleeping on the couch. Because, yeah, most parents would let their kids sleep on the couch on freaking Christmas. I know mine didn't. At all. So, the only one in one other house after that, and all the guy does is drop off a friggin' kayak and an oar and knocks on another tree and something else I hear smash, and that's about it. They just do 3 houses and they end up. I do like when they're leaving in the morning, Tamel says, a good night to all, good night to all a good night. When I wake up, I'm getting a cat sky on! Yeah, he goes up good tricks, but after that, they land in the North Pole, which is an actual little candy-like pole in the north, and then an elf. They also seem to be like kids that don't age, I guess. Takes it down to the little workshop. I mean, it isn't too bad. I mean, it looked pretty cool. Cool, like the design there. Although none of the elves are all upset that Sand died and this guy's that she's like already accustomed to this guy taking over, even though they don't know him. They like, oh cool, no Sand. Like, does this happen a lot? Like, is that why they're not surprised? And he keeps asking who the boss is, keeps saying you are, and I'm like, you can be a little more specific, like, stop acting like you should know what's going on here. And one of the head elf called Bernard put into the criminal who I've nicknamed Dreadlocks, he's got dreadlocks, has explained to him, I'm like, glad someone can find explanation, showing that apparently the stupid Curry God was a little tiny little fine print, which you need a microscope to read, saying that if you put on the suit, you're stuck in the position. And there's no way out of it. Wow, that's crap. Crappy. I mean, like, I know it's be a single, but apparently you also have to stay in the North Pole all year long, even not during the holidays, which is ridiculous. And yeah, so his son, of course, is all happy, excited about this, and he gets like a little snow globe from Dreadlocks. And there's this bed where we're in the bedroom where Alan's trying to get his pants on these Punjiri puppets. I don't know who's controlling them. He freaked out when he almost takes off his pants. And then he wakes up the next day wearing pajamas say SC on it. And it wasn't a dream. He thinks it's a dream, but his son remembers it, and he keeps trying to say to his mom and stepdad about the whole thing, and yet Alan thinks it's just a dream, and then instead of coming to dream, I'm like, you can't have the same dream at once. It's not natural. And I said, oh, I'm told him about. I'm like, to the last detail. You told your son to the last detail about this to the point where he believes it. I'm not a psychologist. I'm pretty sure that's not how the brain works, even if you're like, what, 6 years old? So he you're good. So goes to try and thinks that because the kid says Judy Gum there, which is one of the elves, but he just thinks there was the waitress at the Denny's that night. And he even shouts at his lungs to Krishna and Reynold that he sees butt naked. I'm like, really? Gonna shout that in the freaking neighborhood? Announce that? Really? And things get worse because this kid doesn't seem to learn when to shut his mouth or he seems to understand that maybe saying people in my dad Santa Claus is gonna cause issues? Although these people kind of override this neighborhood even more so than they do when Chris the Cranks overreact. Like when he's doing big get work day, he has his dad go up and says that his dad's Santa. All the kids laugh, but also they do kind of ask him questions about it, so I guess he do believe him. But apparently, saying your kid is Santa, I think a kid says dad Santa is the equivalent of a dad letting his kid bring a porno mag to school, apparently, because the absence team of the principal's office and they're concerned about him believing his dad's Santa. I'm like, why? He's sex. And they asked Alan what he did him that night, and I don't see that kind of response. He claims, well, he had some brown liquor, some bowl of sugar, got some shotguns out, looked for broads. I read him a book. What book? Hollywood Wives. The night before Christmas, come on! I have to admit, that was a pretty funny one. I'm going to have to cut this for a minute here, so I won't take too much space in the hard drive. Okay, I'm finished cutting. Okay, so then he said this is more serious than a kid believing in Santa Claus. So a kid believing in Santa Claus is a serious problem. This isn't like Elf, where the guy's 40 and just like an elf and believes real. Like that would be ridiculous. That would be kind of concerning. But he's 6 years old. Oh, if you don't want to think Santa Claus, how about you two, as the parent and step-parent, tell him, why don't you? But no. You want the Figueroas don't have this guy tell him, apparently. So I'm tell on the Santa. I'm like, why don't you just tell the kid Santa's real thing? This seems to be pushing for. So Alan tries to convince his son that he isn't. Santa's trying to convince him he is. Even showing him the snow globe that night, but he's like, son, they make that all the time. It doesn't mean anything. Like, you saw your kid, saw Dreadlocks, your kid the snow globe in the dream, and yet it's in real life, and you're not putting two and two together? Are you this idiotic? You don't understand that if your son remembers everything from your dream to the last detail, maybe it's not a dream? You see, the kid in his room, potentially at the North Pole, in his room, which is kind of, if more guys were fine, you'd be like, ah, but the mom's like, oh no, my son's got a serious problem. And he talks to Alan Barrow. I like his wife's response when she says to him, says that he's in his room wearing yellow galoshes and stuff, and Alan says, I'm not talking about Neil. I mean, those bars are funny. He also makes a wise remark about Reynolds' sweater, how it's like from the circus. Honestly, I really gotta look at the stand-up one of these days. But yeah, they're really concerned about him. And Alan says, concerned about what? I'm like, I'm waiting on this. And even Citra's Sully convinced attention by getting a globe out, trying to say, how can someone go around the planet in one night? Yeah, well, how can how can someone, oh, I don't know, create the world in 7 days? Answer me that, then, since that's part of our Bible. And have you ever seen a flying reindeer before? Yeah, he's not care about that kid that much. So he almost later goes to the son and tries to well, he actually tries to say there is no Santa, but because he can't do it because there's no puppy dog eyes, he says, there's no reason to talk about it. Just keep asking, like, you could have told him that earlier. Oh, wait, you could have told him that because you thought it was a dream. I'm like, you could have just told him that earlier and this wouldn't be happening, you moron. And after that, it shows that, yeah, this kid isn't going to be your problem of you getting screwed over, because the next morning, the guy wakes up with a beard, it looks just like my Uncle Rob, and a pot belly. Actually, he says about the mirror, someone's missed the mirror. Drawing me like, nah, that looks too detailed. It's moving when your head's moving. Then he goes in the scale and sees he's got a lot of weight, and he says someone's missed the scale. I'm like, who? You live there by yourself. Who's gonna miss the scale? Like a cat? So then he goes to work that way, and he says that a bit by being like, I'm not even sure anyone who's allergic to bees can have their stomach swell up to that size. And these guys are kind of douches, because they're like staring at his gut and asking him, oh my god, that gut. I'm like, really gonna fat shame here? Like, we're in a professional business environment. How be a professional? No, and not make fun of people's weight, like, comment on it. So then Alan orders a bunch of sweets and some milk and some warm milk to drown it down with. And everyone stares at him the whole time. And I'm like, oh my god, mind your own business. If someone wants to eat in peace, let them eat in peace. Then after that, they show this commercial. They go sell this little tank toy. And then Alan flips out about how they designed the elves. And about what to do with Santa. And apparently their idea is to have a break apart, so you have to buy more parts all the time. I'm like, yeah, that scam may work for like a few months, but after that, the kids and the guys are gonna find out you're scamming them, and they're gonna want their money back, and they're gonna lawsuit you. So, if you want this to work forever, you have to understand, kids aren't stupid, and neither are their parents, and they're gonna realize that you're screwing with them. Then Frank comes out to have a talk with him about the thing. Even says he looks like a Pillsbury Doughboy. I'm like, my lord! Like, it'd be like if I went to my job, some of my coworkers mysteriously got a gut, and I was staring at the whole time and making comments about it. Like, really? Like, if I just get a job with my coworkers, workers mind their own business and not picking at people's weight. After that, he goes to a doctor who says that he's healthy as a horse and think there might be some hormonal thing or something. I don't know. So then he goes to watch his son's soccer game. Where there a bunch of kids randomly think he's Santa. as they're lining up from like a mall Santa, and Alan has to actually buys it and goes with it. And I'm like, dude, you look like a predator like this. And I'm not the only one disturbed by this, because then Krishna and Reynolds come, and they're happy with it, and apparently, if you look at Sam, that's also a crime, because then Reynolds says that he thinks has an unhealthy obsession, gives him a card to see him, like, no man in the world wants to be lectured in a psychiatrically lectured by their ex-wife's husband. And they think about denying custody rights to his son. I mean, visitation, I mean. I'm like, oh, come on, he's 6. So what? If a guy wants to spread and shoot his son, is that a crime? And you're like, wait, you think he's going to encourage him to slip and break his neck in a chimney like in Gremlins? By the way, the Dreadlocks actually sends him the entire Christmas list, which is like 1 million boxes. And apparently the people send him that aren't weirded out about this. And this scene where I guess he knows whether he's walking down the street and he's like, looking at a bunch of people going by, he says, this person naughty, this person nice. Then you see some woman go by, he goes, Veronica, very nice. The woman doesn't even question how he knows her name. It just says, in your dreams, slay boy. You don't even question how this guy knows your name. Name after you think he just sexually harassed you. Although, she didn't say anything angry. She said it kind of like in a playful, hard-to-get type way, saying, in your dreams, slay boy. Okay. And things go even worse, where we see where the courthouse did the visitors were suspended, and we all said there, come on, what do you think shows a little old lady Santa? I'm like, sex is all too old to live in Santa? Sex? Like, maybe 15 or 50 maybe, but 6 years old! 6 years old! And I thought the townsfolk of Christmas with the friggin' cranks were ridiculous. Oh yeah, and apparently they say they don't believe it because they didn't get toys they want for Christmas. They didn't get a doll or Oscar Mayer winning whistle. So that maybe because Santa forgot this year, maybe maybe you do next year, or something, like, really? And by the way, you know how he has to keep Santa a secret, Alan did? Apparently, he's not to a judge, he does, because he tells him everything, no problem, like, wow, kid! Now you get a great Christmas. You get your dad's visitation rights suspended! Dead. Wonderful! Now you can't see your dad for God knows how long! Because you can't keep your trap shut! I understand your mom and your foster dad are jerks! And then we go to Thanksgiving where he's... And like... Is this supposed to be happy? Because it's kind of sad pitiful at some bits. So then he goes up to that Thanksgiving. I'm like, don't you want me to call the police on? Like, if I was divorced, I probably wouldn't do that unless my ex-wife... I just turned 20. I was never married. But I wouldn't do what he did. So he goes there, and the kid keeps trying to convince him that he's Santa. And he showed him the snow globe again, and then... Oh, because the snow globe now moves, he then believes, oh yeah, you're right, it wasn't. I'm like, took you this long? Like, when a kid, remember everything that lasted tail, you thought he was confused, but now you said, oh, by the way, Dreadlocks also breaks into the house to go meet up with them. Like, wow, Grey Owl breaks into people's houses and eats their Thanksgiving turkey. And he just now accepts he's Santa Claus is now all herpy-derpy. And by the way, you'd think that they would have Dreadlocks some show the proof, because now they got a guy who's up in the big leagues to prove this so they can prove it all. But no, instead, what they do is that they They leave with the kid without even letting them know what's going on. Yeah. Now, not only did you screw your sister, but now you're a child napper. And now the visitors are suspended, but now they'll be completely revoked for life. So you go to the North Pole and all think maybe I should have told them first or anything. So that they're like, oh, well, we're going to Christmas. I'm like, yeah, but again, you go to Christmas. I think I'm going to skip Chicago for the night so you won't get arrested. We keep getting back from the Krishna and Reynolds trying to get the police out to find the kid, and back to Al getting ready for Christmas, embracing sadness out of the blue, which I kind of don't buy. That he just out of it's like his character is like, is this the same character before? Because he seems more optimistic and less of a jerk. I'm like, this was kind of abrupt. So and the idiot decides to go to the Chicago area. Wow, where you live? Where the police are looking for you? And lo and behold, he gets arrested. By the way, when the police find him, he actually acts like a police and says, "Oh, obviously he's scary." I'm like, dude, they're going here to arrest you because you think you kidnapped your son, and you're acting like nothing's wrong. Idiot. So then he gets arrested. So don't feel that sorry for, considering he could have beforehand. And apparently the officers don't even look at the roof where his son is. They're like, where's the kid? I'm like, look on the roof, knuckleheads. Oh, by the way, criminal apparently realizes that Dreadlocks realizes that he's gone. So instead of teleporting in the building out of prison, he just send a bunch of super elves come in, get the son, and then the next one plays like a silly kid's Christmas special, where they go to the police station and actually tie a police officer up and shove a donut in his mouth to get that out, and bust him. I'm like, or you could, I don't know, bring Cromwell with you to help show that this is real or something. Like, I know, like the expression in L for the expression like Polar Express that believing is saying, but I'm like, in this case, I think the opposite. It says the only way to get you out of prison. They go back to the house and to Krishna's, as I'm like, really? You're already in trouble enough? And by the way, they suddenly forgive him now. And they don't believe Santa. Yeah, like that. But then they act like he's been Santa since the beginning. Even though he's only been Santa for like a year now. And we get this horror moment where Krishna burns the suspension papers so you can visit every time you want. And we get this comment with his kid saying he thinks to stay with them. Well, I think he kind of owed them that for taking without telling them. And I get a horror moment. And Alan takes off. Well, actually, by the way, the kid Snow Globe says he has to shake it to get a hold of him as he wants. And he does it, and Alan takes him for a little sleigh ride. Visiting here. Are you telling me this guy has to stay at the North Pole even when it's not December? Like, what about the other 11 months of the year? You have to stay there. You can't. You're like, even though, like, what are you gonna do with these 11 months? It's months. What are you gonna do in the forest? Dude, was it just stay there? Like, what if you want to see your family outside? Well, the sequel's kind of both explain and lampshade it, but that's the movie. Final thoughts. It's not actually as good as I remember it. I mean, I liked it a little bit when I was a kid. I think the second was the first one I watched. I watched a thing that was like on TV. Like, I first heard of the second film on like the DVD previews to Monsters Inc. And that's also the same DVD I learned about stuff like Inspector Gadget 2, which of course is a piece of crap movie. Or was that Finding Nemo? It was one of the two. And Treasure Planet, which I believe it to be an underrated movie. I mean, Alan's pretty good in the movie, I will admit that. He still has that charm, but again, there's some... Like, there's a lot of plot holes, and some of the characters are jerkheads. It's just a little... And kind of annoying to watch, and kind of hard to watch. Is that a bad movie? Not necessarily. I've seen worse, but I believe you'll get some good chuckles out of it. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I hope you have a good one.